Hi guys, and welcome back. Today we have a slightly older car for you, an E39 M5. If you've been watching the channel, you'll see that we have lots of new cars, but we have actually developed lots of parts for this particular model. This car belongs to a customer who's been coming to us for probably the last 8 years. It started off as a completely stock E39 M5, and he's been slowly modifying it over the years. In its current form, it has a full Evolve exhaust, including the long tube manifolds, Evolve intakes, and the Evolve alpha end tune. So stock, this car made around 390 horsepower, and with the current NA modifications, it's making around 434. He's going for the Supercharger kit now with the aluminium plenum, but he doesn't want to run a lot of boost, so we're going to aim for around 5 psi, which should get us over 500 horsepower. The same Supercharger kit is on our Imola Red E39 M5, and we're actually pushing 630 with around 7 psi worth of boost. So we'll dyno the car now, see what it's doing, fit the Supercharger kit, go through the kit itself, and then show you the results afterwards. This is our E39 M5 Supercharger kit, which uses a Rotrex C3891, a billet plenum, and also a side mount intercooler. It does have some cool features which I'll go through individually on the parts. This kit was developed around 6 years ago on our customer's Imola Red E39 M5, which we bought, which is sitting over there. We will do a full video on that car because it has a lot of history for us. The reason the kit was developed was the customer did actually have one of the existing kits out there, but he wasn't quite happy with it. It didn't fit the way he wanted to and didn't perform the way he wanted it to. So what I'm going to do is go through the individual features on this in Supercharger kit and show you why it's a bit different to everything else that's on the market. This is a Rotrex C3891 centrifugal supercharger, and it's one of the very few supercharger kits for this platform that actually uses this supercharger. We also use this on our E92 M3 kit, and the reason for it is it actually spins up very fast, and because of that we also have to change all the pulleys on the car to 8 rib so it can maintain traction. The advantage this has over the other superchargers that are available is that because it spins up so fast, it actually has a fuller power curve, so it doesn't just make really good peak power, it actually makes power throughout the whole RPM range, and it makes it a lot earlier than the other type of supercharger. One of the other trick things about this kit is the bracket assembly itself. When we were making the kit, we realized that the coolant hose was essentially getting in the way, and the solution that we came up with was to actually run the coolant through the bracket. So the coolant runs through here, actually runs through the bracket, and then comes out of the other side. That's also CNC machined. And next up is the side mount intercooler, and the reason why we went for side mount is that this particular customer who we developed the kit on didn't want a front mount because he didn't want any part of his car cut. He was very particular about his car. It's very pristine, as you'll see when we make a video on it, and this was the only way we could figure out how to do that. The kit also comes with separate fog surround to allow the air to get to the intercooler, and we also put vents in the back of the wheel arch to allow the air to escape. So with this kit we also have a billet plenum machined out of aluminium. A lot of people say that's overkill, but the reason why we had to go for this was when we were developing it on the Imola Red car, we destroyed 2 stock aluminium plenums. They literally cracked, and both times it took the bonnet with it as well, so it dented the bonnet, so it was a very expensive process. So the plenum has also been CFD optimized, so it has shorter velocity stacks to suit the supercharger, and also has diverters inside it to give an equal distribution of air between the cylinders. Now this plenum on its own on a supercharged car gains around 30 horsepower, and it also drops the boost by about 2 or 3 psi, so it's actually much more efficient than the stock plenum. It also comes with the adapters for the throttle bodies. The kit also has different injectors, obviously, so these are Bosch 440cc injectors, and obviously it has custom silicons, so these are for running the boost from the supercharger to the intercooler and then back into the plenum, and these two are for the coolant that runs through the bracket.
With the car dynoed and tuned, we can have a look at the results. This particular car made 389 horsepower when it first came into us without any modifications at all quite a few years ago, and it ended up with 436 horsepower with all the NA modifications, including the Evolve long tube headers, Evolve intake and tune. Now with the supercharger running only 4.5 psi worth of boost, the car is making 530 horsepower and around 450 foot-pound of torque. Bear in mind that this supercharger system is capable of making 8 psi worth of boost, which would take the power to around 630. Our Imola Red E39 M5 is running the same supercharger kit, but we haven't restricted the boost, and it does actually make 630 horsepower. With the supercharger kit fitted, we can have a closer look at it installed in the car. We did have to change the radiator to a CSF one because when the car came into us, it had an aftermarket radiator with a electric fan, and it just wasn't going to work with this setup. If I look at the system from right to left, just to show you what we've done. So that is the Rotrex C3891 supercharger running our custom bracket, and the bracket actually has a channel for the coolant to run through here and then come out of here, and that just allowed us to place the supercharger exactly where we wanted it to. It's running an 8-rib pulley system for excellent grip, because Rotrex actually spins up very fast, so this way the belt doesn't slip, so you're getting good traction on the supercharger all the time. We're using the carbon fiber inlet pipe at the back with the carbon fiber reversed. Reason for that is it's smoother inside, so it actually flows air a lot better. We're using the CNC machined plenum. The reason for using an aftermarket plenum like this one is because the stock one, even though they're metal, they can crack, and we've seen it multiple times, and it's just a safer way of doing things. Also, because this is designed for forced induction, it's actually more efficient than the stock plenum. When you run it with a supercharger kit, what we've found is that you get less boost and more power. So the boost drops by about 1 psi, but you're essentially making 30 horsepower because it's flowing more efficiently. The intercooler is over here, and it's fed by a hole in the fog light area at the front, at the bottom here, and we've made some vents at the back of the wheel arch liner to allow that to go through. And the reason the intercooler was mounted in the side was initially when we designed this kit, a lot of our customers obviously take a lot of pride in E39 M5s, and they're kind of considered to be classic cars, and a lot of people didn't want a large area of their front of the car cut to accommodate a front mount intercooler, and that was the only place that we could put it. So with the kit installed, let's go for a drive and see what it's like. So we've seen the results. What's the car like to drive on the road? Let's go and find out. So as you probably know, we do have our own one, E39 M5 with the same supercharger kit, but we haven't restricted the power on that one, so that makes around 600 to 630 depending on how much boost it's making. The customer did ask us to keep this around the sort of 530, 550 mark, which we've done by keeping the boost around 5 psi. So in terms of driving, I mean, this particular E39 M5 has had a suspension refresh not too long ago, so it actually feels really tight. I really like driving an older car after driving new ones all the time, because they can get a little bit sort of boring. I love the mechanical feel of the older cars. The gear change is really slick. It just feels a bit nicer to feel exactly what's going on. In terms of the power delivery, it's, as you saw from the dyno graph, it's pretty much like standard, but the power just climbs higher the further up you go on the rev range. So although it's forced induction, a supercharger kit like this actually increases boost with RPM, so it still feels very NA. It just feels like a much bigger engine. And the E39 M5 is pretty torquey anyway for an M car. It's got a slightly lower RPM limit than we're used to as well on M cars, but it does feel very torquey anyway. But with the supercharger, it's just enhanced. I think that's the best word you can use. The power is just enhanced everywhere, and it's still very linear, so it's quite tractable as well. It doesn't feel like it wants to chew you up and spit you out. So in terms of driving impressions, it does feel pretty much like a standard E39 M5. It just has more power and it just gets more urgent the higher up the rev range you get. We will do a more detailed driving impressions video on our own car when that's ready. We're just changing the clutch on it at the moment, so expect that video in a few weeks or so. This car also has the full Evolve exhaust system, which includes manifolds and the race cats, and it sounds really nice. It's got that V8 tone, but it's not too loud and it doesn't drone, so it's not intrusive in any way. So overall, it's a really cool package. It's time now to head back and hand the car over to a happy customer. He's had the car for quite a while now, so I think it's a keeper for him. So I hope that it brings him many years of joy.
Thank you for watching, guys. If you want to watch more of our videos, you can watch them over here. If you want to watch what YouTube suggests that you might like from our videos, you can watch them over here. As always, if you haven't already, please like our video and subscribe to our channel. If you've got any questions for us, please drop them in the comments below and we'll do our best to answer them for you.